travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the show on this 24th day of June. It's great to have you with us here on 702. I hope you're good. I hope you're keeping warm wherever you are. We start with the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. What was the point of the U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear facilities? U.S. President Donald Trump now says there's a ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel. Just listen to what he said. This is what he said on Truth Social. He tweeted that, not tweeted, he put it on Truth Social, so that's not a tweet. He posted that, and I quote here, Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, peace. I knew the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners. Both nations will see tremendous love, peace, and prosperity in their futures. They have so much to gain and yet so much to lose if they stray from the road of righteousness and truth. The future of Israel and Iran is unlimited and filled with great promise. God bless you both. End quote. Yeah, this thing reads like a movie, I tell you. So what was the point of attacking Iran? Because there's still no unconditional surrender on the part of Iran. There's still no guarantee or confirmation yet that the US has even obliterated Iran's nuclear facilities and ruined their capability and capacity to build a nuclear weapon. So what exactly was the point of the US attacking Iran? Why did the US attack a country that didn't attack it? And now Donald Trump wants to take credit, right? And say, look at what I've been able to do. Now both countries are coming to me and they want peace right now. The regime in Iran is still in charge. Iran is probably more determined now than ever to exact retribution at some point in the future. Remember, these are the same people who waited over 20 years in the past to get their revenge against the US for overthrowing their government. So Iran yesterday responded to the US attacks. They launched what they described as a powerful and destructive missile attack on a US military base in Qatar. Qatar says its air defenses successfully intercepted the attack. As you may have seen yesterday, flights were cancelled when Qatar closed their airspace, indicating that there was advance notice. And Iran targeted Qatar because, as you probably know, that's a major hub for US military in that region. Iran says the number of missiles that they used on those US bases actually matches the number of bombs used by the US on its nuclear sites. Apparently, the US anticipated the retaliation, and the president was very clear that the US doesn't want any more military engagement in the region. The US expected this, so they moved things and emptied the base. I think ships were evacuated as well. So the US positioned itself and expected this. But who knows what could happen next, right? I mean, this is not the first time also that Iran targets US bases in the Middle East. They did so, was it back in 2020 when the US assassinated Qasem Soleimani? They did it as retaliation. And at the time, the Pentagon claimed, there are no injuries, there's no damage. But actually, CNN and other media houses reported that there were some soldiers that were affected. There was brain injury as well that were experienced by some of the soldiers. Qatar apparently played a key role in this latest ceasefire. As you know, Qatar, a very strong ally of the United States. They have a defense treaty with the US. Donald Trump was recently there, in fact, not so long ago. The US has military presence in Qatar. So Qatar has always played this peace-making role, right? Peace deal-making role as an intermediary in this war between even Hamas and Israel. Hamas spoke to Qatar, so did the Iranians, and the messages made their way to the US. My point, though, is there's still no full, permanent or verifiable agreement that Iran is not producing nuclear weapons. So what was the point of the strikes? Because ultimately you need a permanent deal, and that's not going to come out of airstrikes. And you could argue that, the US did this and they were able to set Iran's nuclear program a few steps back, but it didn't eliminate the problem. Listen to what the Iranian ambassador to South Africa said this morning on 702 Breakfast.
The Americans, Ambassador, are boasting that they completely destroyed Iran's capacity to build a nuclear weapon, even if it wanted to. How extensive was the damage at the weekend?
I think it's a big bluff. They cannot destroy science and knowledge and technology in Iran because it is a domestic knowledge that we have it, and we didn't import it from outside, and it is in the mind of our scientists and our figures, and nobody can destroy it. We have several times declared that the military solution is not a solution for this dispute.
Right, and he's right. Military power has its own limitations. You can't bomb your way out of this. So let's see what's going to happen next. Also on the open line this morning, what are your thoughts on Floyd Shivambu's political trajectory? I was telling Bongani this morning that I really do feel sorry for him. He seems like he's out of control. He doesn't have strategy on what he's doing. And I think, and I've said before when he even joined the MK party, that it's a win for the MK party because I think he's a smart guy. He's an intellectual. He understands politics. He's clear on his ideological positioning. So I really thought the MK party, this was a win for them. But when you look at how he's moving now, I feel like he's on the way to destroying his own political career. And it's going to get to a point where he really will be a non-factor. That's my worry. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how he's been moving. I'll play some of the clips because he was on ENCA yesterday for an interview. So give me your thoughts on that. You can give me your thoughts as well on what the US president has announced as a ceasefire, as some kind of a deal between Israel and Iran. You can call us on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good morning, Clement. Steve here. Trump is a pathological liar. Trump is facing pressure from within, from his own GOP and from Americans. The fact that Iran retaliated means that Trump facing pressure is because his ticket to his presidency was because of a man of peace. He was going to drive peace, and he was now trying to move back to war, and the Americans would have none of that. That is the reason. He thought Iranians were not going to retaliate, and that's what has made him to make a U-turn. How can the guys strike Qatar and at the same time ask for peace? It's not possible. The fact that he is facing pressure, and also maybe from the likes of Putin as well as China, he saw that now he's starting a Pandora's box, as the Russians have said. Cheers.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wanted to position himself. I mean, obviously Iran had to respond in some form. I know Donald Trump said, if you dare respond, you're going to regret it, because we will respond in a far worse way than we have responded, than we have attacked you initially. But any country has, especially in a context like that, even according to international law, has a right to defend itself. So, can you imagine how Iran as a regime, as a government, is going to be looked at when they're being attacked like that and there's no response? And of course, their attack was more symbolic. I mean, Qatar claims that it managed to intercept the missiles that were coming from Iran into Qatar. Well, that's the specific U.S. bases. They're claiming that they've managed to intercept those, but Iran is probably going to argue that we've caused some damage on the U.S. bases. But it's also naive to think that the U.S. didn't anticipate retaliation from Iran and they just chilled and didn't move their equipment and ships around, especially in vulnerable bases. The same way that it's naive of Israel and America to think that Iran somehow didn't anticipate that things would escalate to this point and they didn't make the necessary movements themselves to protect their own nuclear program. So this response from Iran attacking the U.S. was more symbolic. I don't think there's going to be a major attack. Qatar hasn't said anything about any injuries or deaths. We still don't really know the extent of the damage. But the point that they were trying to send is, we're not going to be bullied by you. If you're going to attack us, we are going to retaliate. But now Donald Trump says everybody wants peace. But also, you never know with Donald Trump. Is he even telling the truth? Is he trying to control the narrative? What does it mean? And until we really know the details of this ceasefire deal, I really don't think we can know what is at play right now, even behind the scenes.
Hi, Clement. With regard to Iran's nuclear program, for me, I still can't make sense of why Israel and the US feel it's necessary to disrupt the program and destroy it. I mean, both of those countries already have massive nuclear capability. I think the US has the most, or the second most amount of nuclear warheads globally, and Israel is not too far behind. So why is it that it's a problem when another country develops it, but they're allowed to keep this nuclear technology and nuclear warheads for themselves? Ashwin and Velterfried.
Yeah, and there's a question I asked that veteran journalist who was live to us from Israel yesterday. Does Israel have nukes? And she says, well, they've never really confirmed it, because it seems like it's a position the Israeli government has taken that we are not going to be clear. We're going to have an ambiguous policy on this issue. So they're never going to tell you, we have nukes. But it's always been believed that they do. And if they don't, as I asked the journalist yesterday, why are they not allowing the International Atomic Energy Agency to come and inspect? Why? Iran is the most inspected country. And the very same International Atomic Energy Agency has come out to say that even during their inspections, they have not come across any evidence that suggests that Iran has taken a decision to build nuclear weapons. That's what they've said. I played you a clip yesterday of Rafael Grossi, who is the head of the IAEA, who said they don't have information that Iran planned to weaponize nuclear facilities. So did the director of intelligence in the US, who said, we don't have that evidence. But then Donald Trump came and said, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Your director of intelligence. So why did he get involved? Only to come and say, hey, there's peace. Look. I don't know. Maybe you understand better. But to answer your question, as I said yesterday, I do think that there are legitimate concerns about Iran's nuclear activity. As I said, it's rapidly expanded. I mean, 60% of enrichment is a lot. And the question is, why did they rapidly escalate? Because 60% is far beyond what you need for a peaceful nuclear energy. So the international concern that exists around this is okay. But you can't then try to make up your minds and go strike Iran when there is no credible evidence that you have that suggests a decision has been taken to weaponize that nuclear and to build nuclear weapons. And to this point, we don't know. What did Trump rely on? When the director of intelligence said this, when the IAEA said this. So what did America really rely on? And don't even rely on what Benjamin Netanyahu says, because he's been saying, as I played you the clips yesterday, since 1996, he's been saying the same thing. They're about to produce a weapon. They're this close. It's a matter of months and weeks. 1996, repeating the very same thing. So I'm more interested in Donald Trump and the US and whether or not they had some kind of evidence here that suggests that the decision has been taken. It's 23 minutes now after 9 o'clock.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Octavius, you're calling from Mpumalanga. You want to talk about Floyd. Good morning.
Morning, Clement. How are you?
Sure.
Sharp. Hey, I just wanted to weigh in on the Floyd Shivambu matter, because I think when politicians leave their political parties, not too many of them make such enemies. So I see Floyd has made enemies in the ANC, he's made enemies with the EFF, he's making enemies with NK, and I don't see him working, for example, with the AFRIForum according to his own ideology. So I wonder which support is he going to get, because when he joined NK, I think many people warned him against that and also want to say you may not necessarily succeed in the NK. And some of us didn't see that coming, but look at where he is now. So I think if he had taken some time off, which is what I think Mbuiseni did, and I think it worked well for him, Mbuiseni, in terms of him after being vilified, after being attacked in the EFF, and we were all looking for him to say, can he make an interview? We want to see how he feels, want to hear how he feels immediately. And he just kept quiet for some time, took time off. He went on to consult and get some credible counsel, and his back is doing quite well. So I think Floyd was supposed to at least take that route, because it seems like he has gone rogue. And one other thing is the question that I always have, is there nothing else that these guys can do outside politics? Because it looks like they are holding on to always being in the political parties or political space. And I think maybe with people like Floyd, they can contribute positively in other areas.
But where? I mean, he's got a master's degree. So, I mean, he's a smart guy, Octavius. But if you're so politically exposed, it's always going to be a challenge for you to, I mean, what, does he start a company? That's going to be tricky as well, because who is that company going to do business with unless he's going to play more in the private sector? What does he do? Does he join government? So as a politically exposed person like that, imagine Julius Malema, like what does he do if he stops being a politician, even with his degree? Where do you see them playing a part?
Now, in the academic space, I think Floyd can play a part in the academic space.
Yeah.
He can play it locally, internationally. So I think there are many things that they can do outside politics, because I think he's going to tarnish his credibility, because already we're having some questions in terms of his own judgment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his credibility is almost in tatters. He seems like he's emotional. He seems like he doesn't have strategy at all. And as I've said, again, I have no problem with Floyd Shivambu. I do think that he's a smart person. I think he really understands politics, but I don't think he's got a political identity. I think he was always a Floyd of the EFF, a Floyd who is the deputy of Julius Malema. And it's almost like he's trying to redefine himself now to be this radical person. But that is, there can only be one Julius Malema, whatever you do. And I feel like it's too late for you to also try and redefine your political identity now. Julius Malema didn't start being Julius now. He was always this man who's a straight shooter, who causes problems for even his colleagues because he speaks his mind from the day when he was in the ANC Youth League. Jacob Zuma has always been a charmer. When you read books about exile, you get a sense of this is the man who's always been. So they don't just start in their 80s, in their 40s, 50s to somehow solidify a political identity. And for you to be a strong, influential politician, that work begins a long time ago. And I think he's all over the place now. I mean, listen to what he said. And that's a thing about him as well, right? First of all, it was what he said about Jacob Zuma, right? Remember, I've played you clips because I always like reminding you of how flip-floppers politicians are. So trust them at your own peril. He said nasty things about Jacob Zuma. And then what did he come back and say? Oh, we were misled. As if he was a little boy who's 8 years old and didn't have a brain. And he didn't think for himself because he took whatever was given to him. Please, we're not children. Now he's coming out to say cult personalities in the EFF. And yet, when he was constantly asked about the level of democracy in that party, he's always defended it. So when does he take accountability? He says, yeah, we didn't leave a party, we left cult politics. But when do you take accountability as an adult for having been involved in the personalities of cult, even within that organization for so many years? And he doesn't take accountability for anything. Yana is always misled. I worry that he's going to destroy his political career because it seems so directionless, so emotional. I don't know what he's working at. And hey, who knows? Maybe he's working on something that's somehow going to produce a political party that will be effective. But is it going to be a strong player in politics? I don't know. He put up a poll just the other day, was it yesterday? Asking people, do you think we need a party? Do you think we don't need a party? And when he saw that a lot of people were saying we don't need a new party, he went and deleted that poll. Where's the strategy there? It's 9:30.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
25 minutes before 10 o'clock.
Good morning, Clement Manyathela and your 702 team. This is Elton Gordon from eThekwini in KZN. Regarding the issue of Floyd Shivambu, look, for me, credibility matters. And as far as I'm concerned, the VBS scandal has not left my mind because there was a gentleman who drafted an affidavit and those allegations are yet to be tested. So for me, yes, he may be an intellectual with a master's degree and whatever other academic qualifications, but for me, credibility matters. And there may be the courts of law, but there's also the courts of public opinion. So I can't see myself as a young South African following an individual who was partly responsible for the demise of UBS Bank, where vulnerable people lost millions of rands. Thanks for the great show, guys.
Morning, Clement. You know what? That statement you've just made that you are worried about Shivambu, you've really depressed me. You've ruined my day. Shivambu is said to be having some degree. So why guys like him cannot find a real job and them stop living off the public purse? I mean, these guys, it's become a career for them to be milking the South African people. You know, we are milk dry. And honestly, to be hearing that people are worried, you mean about these guys? These guys are charlatans. They find an easy way of making money, you know, having their bread buttered on both sides without breaking a sweat. Rob.
Yeah, Rob, look, when I say I'm worried about him, doesn't mean I justify whatever alleged wrongdoing he may have done. That's why I can still criticize him and I can still call him directionless. So I'm honest about how I feel about people. So I remember some people were unhappy about when Jacob Zuma was arrested a couple of years ago. Remember when he handed himself over and he was wearing those track pants, and I remember watching the visuals and I was sad for him. And don't get this twisted. Being sad for someone doesn't mean you don't think they must be held accountable. At no point did I ever think Jacob Zuma should not have gone to jail. In fact, I celebrated that move as a matter of principle. But I still felt sad. And maybe I'm a compassionate person by that. You know, in my nature, I do feel compassion for people, but that doesn't mean I don't want them to be held accountable. So some people are like, how dare you feel sorry for Zuma? I was like, he's an old man. For me, he's an old man. I could have felt sorry for another person if it was not Jacob Zuma. But that doesn't mean he must not go to jail, because he went and disrespected the highest court in the land and acted as if he's a law unto himself. So he needed to be held accountable. He needed to go to jail. I still stand by that. But that doesn't mean that when I look at him as an old man who's frail, and I'm not going to think, that's so sad that things are at this point where an old man like that, who could be your dad, your uncle, could be your neighbor, is now going to spend time in jail. Similarly so with Floyd. I think he's a smart guy. I do think he's an intelligent guy who is very clear on his political ideology. I just think he's all over the place now. And if he really cares about building a strong political movement, he needs some strategy. And it doesn't look like he's got any. It doesn't look like that. After the break, I'm going to play you those clips that I told you about, where he talks about cult personalities, the same cult personalities he defended a couple of years ago.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
18 minutes before 10 o'clock. Here's Floyd Shivambu, a couple of years ago, speaking to JJ Tabani, and he was asked about whether or not there's this issue of cult following in the EFF and whether there's even democracy. Like, can even other leaders disagree with Julius Malema? Here's how he defended that a few years ago.
Is EFF having internal democracy? Or
yes,
is it a one-man show? They're asking a direct question.
It has got maximal, optimal internal democracy. I don't think it's practically possible for one human being to could run a 1 million member organization like the EFF, which gets to have public representatives in more than 230 municipalities, is present in all the 9 provincial legislatures and everything else there. There's policy frameworks and guidelines that we give, these resolutions of conferences that we adopt, and our members excellently, without any micromanagement, fulfill the EFF mandate without any So there's no any other form of political democracy you can find than in the EFF. We were founded in 2013. In 2014 already we had an elective conference. All these Mickey Mouse parties that were founded after that, none of them have ever gone to any conference to choose leadership. They just appoint themselves and fire people without procedure. The EFF is an embodiment of organizational democracy, which of course is anchored by democratic centralism.
There's no other politically democratic party other than the EFF. Well, let's fast forward to yesterday.
That are presented in terms of how the organization should be run. One person decides its direction, its character, its content, and is the only person who speaks in all the major platforms of the organization. I mean, I was in the EFF for 11 years.
Yeah.
There were thousands of press conferences there. Even when I was the one who had qualitatively better explanations of some of the questions that would be asked them. A person will try to answer those questions because he wants to be the only one that speaks.
You mean Julius Malema?
Yes. Even if they were to ask about things that he has got no comprehension of, but would insist to be the only one that speaks. The only time that I will speak in a press conference is when maybe a journalist had asked if I'm contesting him, that I must say in front of the journalist.
So were you advising Mr. Malema when you were there? He was just parroting what you were saying?
No, that was not the case. For bigger part of the life of the EFF, we gave the ideological character, but the operational model of the EFF, it's way too centralized, could become a true representative of the people. And that explains why the EFF in mass never got to attract quality leadership at local level, at provincial level, even at national level.
And yet he was one of the very same leaders in the EFF. What does it say about the quality of his leadership? Oh my goodness. It's really not looking good for him. And guys, I can play you more and more clips. I just don't have time. I can play you more and more clips of Floyd contradicting himself. He was talking about the MK party and how it's not a Zulu nationalist party. Well, News 24 is now reporting about a 14-page letter or document that he has written that speaks to the MK party as a Zulu nationalist party. So I can point out to so many contradictions. And to be fair, it's not only Floyd Shivambu. I've played you many clips before, even of Julius Malema, of many other political leaders who have flip-flopped. The moral of the story, as I always say to you, trust politicians at your own peril. Gamo, you're calling us from Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning, Clement and your listeners.
Sure.
There's a sickness that our leaders suffer from here. The sickness is only I, me, myself, only I can fix the problems in this country. And my worry with Floyd wanting to start another socialist organization, because we've got a plethora of those, is that how is he going to prevent the same thing that we see happening historically of egos and people saying, this is my party, listen to my ideas, because clearly he wants to lead this new party. So he's saying, and he likes using this word when he talks to media, and superior logic. He really thinks highly of himself and his policies and his strategies. It's all about him. So in another 2-3 years, let's say this party forms, what's going to prevent this party from being another EFF, another MK, another ANC? Because these are all socialist parties where you have a situation where egos are clashing again, and people are saying, yeah, Floyd only wants us to listen to him, and then it fragments again. We need to get leaders into a room and to have a common base and to fight real issues, not for people to tell you about my superior logic. We've heard too much about superior logic. We don't need superior logic. We need people to fix the problems in this country. That's the thing that we have here.
Do you think he's overestimated? Do you think he's overestimated his political currency?
He's a bad salesperson. And I was just speaking with your production host as she was vetting me before I called. Floyd is a bad salesperson. He can't sell a new political party. He's got some people who respect him as a strategist, as an analyst. But he's not. He's a poor salesperson. I like Floyd because he's got good ideas. But there's no way I'm putting pen to paper for Floyd. He hasn't charmed me. He hasn't sold me the idea.
Yeah.
So you really need somebody who comes there and is a good salesperson, because that's what you're doing here. You're selling an idea.
That's why I said earlier, Kamo, that I don't think he's got a political identity. For someone to start a party and influence others to follow, you need an identity. And I don't think he has one. You're right. He's smart. He's a strategist. He's the behind-the-scenes guy. He got to the MK party. He helped with building the structures, drafting the constitution, which, by the way, he's complaining about the EFF centralizing power in one person, and yet the very constitution he helped draft in the MK party centralized so much power, within the president, the former president, Jacob Zuma. So do you think, does he have, because Malema, you can see, this is someone who's built that political currency and identity over years. Jacob Zuma, I can go on and on to mention other parties. Do you think he's got that? So someone else argued the other day, well, what about Rise Mzansi's leader? For instance, this is someone who's never been in politics. He came in, and my argument was, well, there was, in fact, a deficit. There was a lot of middle class that didn't want to vote for the ANC. They were not convinced by the DA, and therefore they were sort of in the middle and didn't know who to vote for. And when Rise Mzansi came, they saw an opportunity to give that party a chance. But Floyd is bringing up a template that already exists, a socialist party.
Clement, if you think about it in this context, Floyd was playing a pivotal role in the EFF, and they couldn't get their number to 15-20% when he was having the likes of Ndlozi, very charismatic as well, having Julius Malema. Does Floyd think that as an administrative assistant, he's going to be more charismatic and come and sell us an people? You couldn't get numbers with the best of the best, with the best charmers. I mean, like him or hate him, Julius knows how to charm. He knows how to talk. He knows how to keep people captivated. If you couldn't grow numbers alongside Julius Malema and Ndlozi, do you really think alone you're going to get those numbers? You are not, Floyd. In your political currency, stop it. Get a job, start a business, do something else. But we don't need a new political party, especially a socialist political party.
Okay, Kamo, I got you, Kamo, in Pretoria. It's 9 minutes before 10.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
On 702.
6 minutes before 10 o'clock. Stephen in Centurion, hi.
Hi, Clement. How are you, sir?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
Man, I'm disappointed with Floyd Shivambu. I regard him to be one of the brightest, politicians around. And then I don't know why he should know Jacob Zuma by now. He could not be fooled by Jacob Zuma, really. Jacob Zuma always surrounds himself by people who look like him. Check the likes of Prime Minister and everyone. You go there and find few hyenas sitting there with few goats, and then they say we are vegetarian now. And then they give you a position. They say, go around, you're a national organizer, go and get us more goats. And then 2 days you go around, you find them eating one of the goats, and you come and cry and say, they just killed the goat. They say they are now vegetarian. These guys opened this party, not for everyone in South Africa, for them to make money. So when they've made enough, and then now they share that money, they chow, Floyd Shivambu is now surprised. How can he be surprised? Because look the characters who are there. Look, check where they come from. They, ran over the government institution, everything, they stole everything. But you go to them, you think they've changed.
Politicians do lots of things that we can explain, but it's for their own political expediency. I always say, all politicians are after power. No politician just wants to be a mere politician who's just in opposition, who doesn't play an effective role. They want power. Diele.
Clement, this guy is hurt. I'm sure he's beating himself for a stupid move that he has made. Uncalculated move. And I still believe that Dalimpofu has got a lot to do with Floyd moving from the EFF to the MK. He's Zuma's lawyer. He gave Floyd promises that, no, we're going to be okay that side. And then you're going to have a bigger role to play. That's why he went there. And now he's quiet, Dalimpofu. If you can interview Dalimpofu and interrogate him, the truth will come out. Dalimpofu is the biggest contributor of Floyd's stupid move. And you say this guy has brains. And he says he didn't learn anything for 10 years, that he learned for 6 months. How can you be the brain and not learn anything for 10 years? He's hurt. So he's going to bash anybody that he comes across. That's why he contradicts himself. Cindy.
Good morning, Clement and 702 Landers. Hey, this thing of Floyd Shivambu, I think you're so correct, Clement, by saying Horim, he overestimated his currency. Politics is about power, and power is influence. And I'm not sure, Hori, he's got the kind of influence that he thinks or he thought he had. And therefore, I doubt that, he's as powerful as he thinks. So right now, credibility higher, it's just down the drain, the inconsistency. And I just think one of the things that really gets to me is the inconsistency of these politicians. It's one thing to say I agree or disagree with you, but if at least you are consistent in your outlook, in your ideological standing and whatnot, at least we know that this is what this person is about. And Floyd Shivambu, I feel for him right now.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.